community watches as Phil Mickelson claps back hard on the gossip of LIV rivals getting punished should they ever rejoin the PGA Tour. In a defiant swoop, the icon blasted the PGA's call, took it up a notch by demanding an apology, and put the final nail in the coffin by claiming no one was interested in joining the tour anyway. Yeah, you heard that right. Brace yourselves for one epic showdown. Even when it seemed like the LIV PGA merger would bring forth a breath of fresh air, it turns out the golf community never sleeps. While it is no longer news that the deal would see the duo along with the DP World Tour merge to form a single entity called NewCo and be funded by Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, rumors have been swirling, claiming the players who defected from the PGA Tour would be treated harshly, especially if they were coarse about it. We must remember that both parties have a well-documented history of bad blood. Both sides have thrown jabs at each other. Both sides have made a fair share of low blows. Simply put, harsh treatment wouldn't make a lot of sense, and Phil Mickelson believes so too. Taking advantage of his massive audience on Twitter, Phil Mickelson put down the claims that LIV players would get punished for the way they left the PGA Tour. Not stopping there, he accused the PGA of paying top cash to the press just to paint LIV players bad and demanded a public apology for it. His tweet reads, "What a colossal waste of time. Not a single player on LIV wants to play PGA Tour. It would require a public apology and restitution to LIV players for paying millions to clout media to disparage all of us. A better topic is future sanctions for the many players who now come to LIV." Guys, there's a lot to unpack here. Not only is he pointing fingers at the press for taking sides and scheming with the PGA, but also he said they could keep their sanctions to themselves as no LIV golfer is interested anyway. Yikes. While you may or may not agree with him on the latter, we find it amusing that a merger that should have illuminated the path to the future of the sport has plunged it into darkness and the uncertainties that come with it. With the crazy drama that keeps popping up like daisies, no one knows what the future holds for golf. We mean, are both parties supposed to work together? Sometimes it's like they can't even stand each other. Take Phil Mickelson, for example, a fan favorite, an iconic figure with a magnificent career one can't even dream of. He was one of the most high-profile stars to exit the PGA Tour for LIV Golf, along the likes of Sergio Garcia, Bryson DeChambeau, Cameron Smith, Brooks Koepka, and Dustin Johnson. Ever since he left and took center stage in the breakaway circuit, he became a regular target of heavy criticism. Consequently, he developed a thick skin and became one of the most vocal supporters of LIV. In the past few months, he has called out the tour for any displeasure without caring about the consequences. It makes us wonder how cohesive golf's new entity would be. For things to work, a lot of healing needs to take place. But who knows? Maybe Phil Mickelson is right after all. Maybe LIV golfers need an apology. Day one-ish of LIV's breakaway is still fresh in the memory. Just as the circuit took its first baby steps, the world seemed to be against them. Remember the words of Alan Shipnuck? No? Alright then. Well, sensing that the foundations of the sport were about to shake like never before, former golf writer Alan Shipnuck posted an excerpt from his Phil Mickelson biography. Citing Saudi Arabia's stance on LGBTQ matters and its history of human rights records, he enthused, "Why would I even consider joining the upstart league?" Immediately the quote went up. It spread faster than wildfire. Soon everything about LIV Golf had become toxic. No matter what it did or who stood up for it, it felt like it would never truly be able to shake off the malaise attached to it. That wasn't even the worst part. Soon, players who defended the circuit became public enemy number one. Wary of overwhelming backlash, players withdrew comments and commitments left and right. At that point, LIV Golf seemed to be dead and buried. The fall of what promised to be a positive change to golf was as clear as day. Rory McIlroy, undoubtedly one of the fiercest supporters of the PGA Tour, made an interesting comment at the time. Regarding LIV Golf, he said, "In my opinion, it's dead in the water. Alas, less than 6 months later, LIV was anything but dead. Before the 2023 season ended, they merged with the PGA. We're not saying this for you to pick sides. No, that's not true. We're only bringing to mind the onslaught LIV faced from its inception up until today. If Phil Mickelson feels offended, know he has genuine reason to feel so. Supporting LIV put him in a difficult position, and it's only fair to call the PGA out for any foul play. Greg Norman recently spoke up about PGA players calling him in view of switching to the LIV. In Phil Mickelson's perspective, they should be the ones getting sanctioned. Right now, everything feels right for LIV. It's not exactly a competition, but we cannot help but feel like they're winning. Greg Norman's shocking confession cements it. Why? Well, with lots of determination and a massive influx of cash to match up its ambitions. LIV and money are inseparable. Its massive sums have garnered headlines, and perhaps more importantly, its upfront direct deposits make it a juicier offer in comparison to LIV. It's no surprise why, on the one hand, people from the PGA are keen on moving over to LIV, but on the other, LIV golfers want nothing to do with the PGA. So far, at least. Let's dissect just how crazy lucrative LIV is. LIV had an 8-event schedule. Those tournaments commanded a mammoth $225 million in prize money alone, completely eclipsing the prizes of the PGA. When approaching players and agents, the difference was made clear. Dustin Johnson and Bryson DeChambeau were reportedly given an estimated $125 million each up front for moving to the circuit. If you thought that was crazy, you've seen nothing yet. Phil Mickelson's deal was estimated to be $200 million up front and just for leaving the PGA. As if all that wasn't juicy enough, the first place winner of LIV's individual competition gets $4 million, with juicy sums still guaranteed for 48th place. Alas, on the PGA Tour, only those who make the cut after the first 2 rounds get appreciated with cash. As a matter of fact, Greg Norman once stated he hoped an unpopular player would win the $4 million cash grab of LIV's debut event, just so the pros of PGA understand what they are missing. The team competitions in LIV are just as eye-popping. In the 4 teams of 12 competing players, first place goes home with $3 million, second place takes home half of that, and third place, $500,000. Backed by Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, money is never a problem for LIV golfers. As things stand, Phil Mickelson feels right. There is hardly any plausible reason why a LIV golfer would be keen on getting back to the PGA Tour. LIV features a more accessible schedule and far better incentives. Is there any downside? You can argue they would be missing out on the rich heritage that the PGA Tour proudly carries, but if they were willing to depart from it in the first place, what could make the defectors interested again? In the words of Phil, talking about the strict rules and harsh conditions awaiting the LIV Rebels feels like a colossal waste of time. Thank you for sticking around. If you enjoyed our content, we'd appreciate it if you showed your support by hitting the like button, leaving a comment, and subscribing to our channel.